Sonic is kind of at a peak right now, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know why they decided to build one so high in the mountains. Business will be terrible. Bears going through the drive-thru ordering mozzarella sticks. Sonic Prime was a decent show. IDW comics are going strong. A new game that came out that wasn't like complete utter shit. The last two Sonic movies were good. And they even killed him. It's nice to see the blue bastard finally getting out of his weird rut. And there's still plenty to look forward to. We got DLC coming out for Forces, which is cool. We got Sonic Movie 3, as well as the Knuckles show coming out this year. It's all very exciting. Originally, I was just going to make a prediction video on Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and that's it. But in the end, I realized the video would be pretty straightforward and boring. We already know that the movie will be an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog. How they're going to incorporate these elements is still unclear, but we do know that that's the plan. If I was to make a prediction video, it would basically just boil down to me giving a summary of these games with little changes. So I'm going to give some very brief, minor predictions for Sonic 3, and then move on to the bigger picture, the SCU, I guess you could call it. Okay, so first prediction. I think Metal Sonic will be the big bad rather than the giant space lizard. I don't think they're just gonna leave that whole like quill thing behind. It's gonna be the new power source. As funny as it would be to see Sonic and Shadow on the big screen punching a lizard with a space colony up its ass, I think Metal Sonic would just overall be more interesting for them to confront. I also think Rouge will appear in the movie, but honestly I'm not so sure about Amy. While Amy's probably the more recognizable character, in terms of Sonic Adventure 2 specifically, I just think Rouge is a much more important asset to the story. She really doesn't do much in Sonic Adventure 2, aside from like breaking Sonic out of prison one time, but they can easily have Tails do something like that. She did also talk to Shadow at the end of the game, which helped him realize like what Maria truly wanted and not destroy Earth, but honestly, I feel like they're gonna incorporate the little girl into that in some way. Of course, they can like probably like change the story. It's probably not gonna be like a one-to-one adaptation, so they could probably find something new for her to do. That kind of brings me to the next thing. I don't want them to introduce too many characters all at once, because then that just make the story get all cluttered and stuff. Alright, I guess we should like the Knuckles show. I have no idea what I want from this. I guess just seeing more of Knuckles' backstory would be nice. I just hope that watching the show isn't absolutely necessary for understanding the movies. These movies need to stand on their own, not with a fucking Knuckles show-shaped crutch. Now I want to expand onto the bigger picture, the cinematic universe. That's definitely the direction they're going with this. I think the prospect of a Sonic cinematic universe is really exciting. I know it's like a little tiring at this point. Every company is really trying to get a piece of that pie. Remember the Dark Universe? Of course you don't. Dark Universe. No wonder it failed. Nobody could see it. But for Sonic, I think it's a little different for one main reason. It's not really a crossover of any kind. It's not like Kiryu is gonna come in and start beating the shit out of Sonic with breakdance. It's just Sonic stories and characters. It'll hopefully let the whole thing be more focused, since these characters were designed to work together from the get-go. You know, most of these characters have interacted with Sonic in some way before, so it's not really something that really needs figuring out. There are some worries, but let's not worry about that. Let's just go ahead and start discussing things that I think would be cool to see in this newfound universe. Okay, future movies. We all know about Sonic 3, but what about after? Will it just be Sonic 4, Sonic 5, and Sonic 6, and so on? Or will they try to make spin-off movies of other characters? Big's Great Fishing Adventure. It's an hour and a half of fishing and catching absolutely fucking nothing. For a spin-off, if I were to choose a cast that I think would best hold the film on their own, it'd probably be Team Chaotix. They got the whole detective thing going on, so you could do something similar to like Detective Pikachu, where they have to find out the plot of some conspiracy or something like that. I also want it because, I'm gonna be honest, I just really like Team Chaotix. They're like my favorite group. I'm not exactly sure what the plot would be or what kind of like conspiracy they'd be uncovering. I would say maybe adapt Knuckles Chaotix to some extent, but like, does a plot even exist in that game? Oh wow, there's actually more plot here than I originally thought there would be. Okay, well then maybe you can make something out of this and then slightly rework it to better fit the whole detective motif. You can make it where it takes place after Sonic 3 and Team Chaotix is hired to find Metal Sonic after he went missing after the end of that movie. I think that'd be really cool. Metal Sonic comes back after hiding himself to fix himself. It's genius, everyone will love it. But if I'm being real, if any character was gonna get their own movie first, it'd probably be Shadow the Hedgehog. He's just too dang popular. I'm not sure what kind of story they would tell. If the third movie's already going to incorporate certain elements of Shadow the Hedgehog, then what would this movie even be about? An adaptation of the Lego Sonic where he becomes a gardener or some shit? It might be a very, very loose adaptation of the Dark story of Sonic Heroes where they find Gamma along with Rouge become Team Dark. That would be pretty cool. But honestly, aside from these two, I can't really think of any other character that could hold an entire movie by themselves. Well, at least in the games. If we're talking comics, then maybe Whisper and Tangle could make a great film. They got all the pieces for one, but I don't think they're going to be incorporating the comics into the film, at least not for a very long time. time, and that's even assuming the films make it that far. Alright, that's the spin-off talk. I know that was very short, but gosh dang, there's like, if I wanted to go through every character and talked about whatever I wanted to see if they made a spin-off movie, this video would be far too long. So let's just drop it at that and talk about the upcoming mainline movies after Sonic 3. What do I want to see from Sonic the Hedgehog 8, the re-hedgehogging, starring Scarlett Johansson? Well, if we reference my very first video on my channel, then I would love an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 1. I want to see perfect chaos on the big screen. I can already see the end credit scene. The camera pans over to a mysterious landscape. Chao are hovering and playing with each other. It pans down to a Chaos Emerald in a small puddle. We look at it for a few seconds before the emerald gets pulled into the water. It would get me so hyped. Of course, a lot of Sonic games are primed for adaptation. Neo Metal Sonic and Sonic Heroes would be cool to see. And if we go beyond mainline, then maybe they could do something with Sonic Rush. That was the series that introduced Blaze the cat, so seeing her on the big screen would be cool. So many games, so few movies. I guess if they wanted to, they could turn some of them into shows. I don't really have ideas of making too many shows that connect to the movies, but for something that's not that big of a deal, like making a short series adapting Gamma's story, I think that would be cute. I'm just rambling at this point. What do I want to see from the SCU? Everything. I want everything. And if I don't get everything, I will throw a tantrum and then someone will call the cops and have me arrested for disturbing the peace.